This podcast is brought to you by Hór Chartered Accountants. Hór Chartered Accountants are based in Galway City and are a leading provider of audit, accountancy and taxation services. For more information, visit hórcharteredaccountants.ie. Now you're welcome along to the Maroon and White pod. So we're continuing our build up to the Senior Club Football Championships. And I'm joined by Claregalway Senior Football Manager Austin Sammon to look ahead to his side's championship campaign. Austin, a few weeks out, how are preparations going ahead of the championship?
Yeah, hi Paul. Things are going well. We we're not naive up to say we're at the finishing touches yet of winning the championship, but we've had a really good bounce now in the last 5 or 6 weeks. It's a funny time of year in July. Players on leave and going away on holidays. Our goal, we're going to get to an All Ireland final. Will the championship start the first weekend of August? Will it be 2 weeks later? Thankfully, the players decided themselves that they had a cut-off of a certain date in July, which was yesterday, that they wanted everybody back from their holidays, and total player driven. So we have full roundup of everybody now. But yeah, we'd be very happy with preparations. But look, you don't know until you get to the field. That first weekend of August is going to be a big game for everyone. A big weekend.
It's nearly like a rumor mill at the minute. Who's around, who's not? Everyone's trying to figure it out with the various clubs. For yourself, you obviously suffered a few setbacks this year, losing a few key players.
Yeah, we're one of the clubs, I suppose, that has a dual status, and albeit they mightn't be affiliated, but we've Castlegar, Turlough and Carnmore players playing with us. So a couple of guys decided they were going to concentrate on hurling this year of our starting team last year. So we're down 8 players between that and players gone to Australia and America. Not two of those are short term, so we're getting those back. They'll miss the first round of the championship. They'll come back that weekend. So we'll see what we try and get them up to speed then over the coming weeks after that. But we're still net down 6 players from last year. And thankfully, Jack Lane and Conor Flaherty didn't decide to look abroad after Galway exited the championship, and that's always a fear. Like these guys put in so much work during the year that they might decide that they need a break, and the States is always compelling, but they avoided this year. So we have what we have now. We've a decent number, and I think it's really testament to the club really that to lose 8 players and still have a good number on the senior squad. I know in my other clubs that say that would be a challenge. So we have other challenges, but I think numbers wouldn't be one of them.
Just before the championship, how do you feel the league went for you?
Um, yeah, we had a very mixed bag. I'd say the positives, we were probably the only team that bet Tuam, and they went on and won the Division One title. Um, and we had a couple of other decent wins and performances, but um, we had a couple of games then and score lines where we were a fair bit off. So we were coming to terms with the rules like everybody. We probably took on a different approach to the game and mixed results. I think we've now landed and we've played a couple of games recently where we're to grips now where we're our style of play and we have a full complement of players back again. So the league can be funny, if you're down a couple of players at all, if they're away with work or on holidays, or you don't have your intercounty players, be it the under 20s and senior, you can be fairly depleted. So we use as an exercise to blood a lot of newer players and get them in playing senior football. So yeah, mixed results. We landed where we had to play a playoff for relegation. We played St Michael's, and that was a nip and tuck battle right to the very end. So that went down to the final whistle, and and funnily enough, we were brought to CCCC, is that what it's called, for a decision where we felt we were Um, could have been awarded a draw against Oughterard, which would have put us up into the semi-final as well. So that's how close it was. We were right there at the very end as well. So, but success overall. The main thing, Division One status maintained, and we move into Phase Two then.
You mentioned there getting used to the new rules. There'll be a lot of intrigue for supporters over the next few weeks because, as you mentioned there, a lot of clubs during the league didn't have everyone. We didn't see the full complement of teams. But at club level, how do you feel the new rules are working so far?
It's brilliant. I've been a massive fan of the rules. The game is far more exciting. There's a fair bit of off the cuff football, which you like to think that players bring that intelligence to the field, and it's not all creating robots. And I think that's the lessons. I mean, you couldn't love some of the stuff that was gone in Gaelic football the last couple of years. And now I think there's the players that have an ability to see things and on the fly and just back their own decisions and move at pace. I think there's a real opportunity for players to come out and do well. So yeah, look at like everyone, we probably took beatings in games where we were getting used to it. Even getting used to referee decisions, getting used to moving the ball forward. Kickouts are a huge part of the game now, and some old school stuff has really come back in about winning your own ball and everything. Like, but I mean, if you're shying away from them kind of things, I don't think the sport's for you. And I love the where people have to win your own 50-50 battle and you win your own ball. I mean, that's the name of the game. And this really encourages that behaviours and from everyone around the pitch.
Just with your group, Austin, obviously, Tuam Stars, Domore McHale's, and your neighbours, Anna Down. I've been referencing this on the pod. It's definitely the group of death when you look at the groups overall in the championship. But what would be the ambitions for Claregalway this year in the senior championship?
Yeah, look, I'm not going to make excuses. We do have a young team. Average age will be under 22, but we have quality there as well. And I know I referenced players that we have lost from last year, and I'd say anybody who would be familiar with Claregalway football, losing the likes of Barry Goldrick, Nathan Granger, um, Mark Rowan, like three of our scoring forwards last year, they go, wow, these guys are probably taking a step back. But we've had to fill that gap with real quality players, and these players have stepped up to mark so far. I mean, we've a big outing now in championship, but um, we definitely want to be getting to the phase two in this group, and we've had really good success in the last 2 years now against Tuam. We're and Tuam are one of those teams I would put in the top tier of club football. They're tried and tested for years and years. I think we're going for three in a row in championship against them now this year. Um, and that'll be a huge battle for us. I mean, like there's no, they've been well coached. They've new management and new trainers in place. They don't need any motivation to come back and take us on again this year. So I see that. I hope we bring it to the field, the potential we have, and make a right battle of it again. Dunmore, I have to say, Dunmore were for us was a brilliant game. I think it was a couple of years ago we played them, and I actually saw them playing their league final there recently. And buddy of mine, Alan Glynn, now has taken the helm there, and they're just a really exciting team to watch. I'm blown away by their style. Alan will always have very good structure and on his teams, but the movement and the way they played that day was absolutely a joy to watch. So they'll be aiming for top spot. They definitely won't have any fear of us, nor Tuam nor Annadown, and Annadown the same. I mean, these are teams like you call it a group of death. I think rightly so. I think each of those would see us maybe as a team that they could get one over. So we won't be taking any game easy. Game easy. We don't. We see each of them as going to be a titanic battle. And but I think if we bring our game to the day and every day, we'll be there to final whistle in every game. So after that, you mean you need a bit of luck, and what we're looking for is real performance out of everybody. And the learnings from us so far is this is absolutely a 20-man game for every single match. You will definitely be using the five subs. The energy, zap, and nature of it. For you'll need a big squad here for every game, and that's even before injuries come into play. So touch wood, we actually have no injuries so far, which is great to say. And we just hope we get to start the line and saying the same thing in a couple of weeks' time.
Great stuff. Austin, thanks very much and best of luck in the championship.
Fair play. Thanks, Paul.
We're continuing our build up to the Senior Football Championship, which is just around the corner, getting underway in the first weekend of August. And I'm joined by St. Michael's senior footballer, Dave Canavan. Dave, first off, how are preparations going on Michael's ahead of the championship?
Yeah, it's fairly busy now. So it's mid-July. We're kind of getting our last few friendlies in and getting kind of your last kind of tough sessions in before you kind of taper it out and yeah, building up to the first game. So a bit busy at the moment, but enjoying it.
Obviously, we're last year getting back up to senior football from intermediate for St. Michael's. But how much of a challenge is it now to survive at senior? Because obviously, any team that comes up from intermediate doesn't want to be that yo-yo team.
Yeah, it's very difficult. Like the 16 teams now means it's very competitive. I remember when we were playing when there was 20 teams, you always had a bit of a safety net. There was always a club going worse off than you, but uh, with the 16 teams, it makes it very difficult. And yeah, we want to avoid that yo-yo status and everything, and we want to kind of cement our place in senior status, in senior anyways. And yeah, hopefully we can do that.
How do you feel the league went for you?
Yeah, league look didn't go great. We ended up going down to Division Two. Compared to other years, I think like last, so 24 was a long year, and so was 23 even when we got relegated. So I think we went back a bit later than than most years. So kind of it was tough to get a result in the first few games, and then in the last few games, I think we just came up just a small bit short against like some Milltown and Curfin and Montpellier, a few of these teams. So it wasn't ideal, but we're a bit of a team in transition. We got a lot of new players in. A lot of new players got game time and putting some good performances. So we took the positives from it.
For yourselves, obviously a bit of a blow to lose a couple of players after coming up this year.
Yeah, we're down a few. Like I reckon from, let's say, our panel of 30, I'd say we're down about 10, and then we have another 3 or 4 kind of doing a bit of traveling in the States for the summer. So down about half a panel most of the year, and then but on the positive side, then we had 2 under-19 teams that got to Westport B finals or sorry, county finals. And they're breaking into the team, and they're showing us what they can do, and I expect to see a few of them over the course of the first few championship games anyways.
You're without Eamon, obviously, and Gary Higgins will miss the first game. Obviously, that suspension is carried over from the Crossmolina defeat last year in the Connacht Intermediate Championship. But you mentioned there a couple of new faces that probably, I suppose, Galway supporters in general probably mightn't be familiar with Michaels that they probably see this year now.
I Yeah, there's still some, we still have some good players even from last year. I think Steve Kerr is flying in at the moment. He got a few trials in with the Galway seniors this year. He's moving very well. Conal Gallagher was in with the Galway. He was in with the Galway squad. Got a bit of a nasty enough injury. It wasn't too bad, but struggled to get it right. He was in with the panel as well. So I suppose I'll give you them too. Hopefully you'll see more of them in a Galway jersey in the years ahead.
Good stuff. And for yourself, Dave, how have you found the new rules overall in club football? Like, how do you feel they're being ref? Because everyone kind of had to worry about how is this going to be refed and everything at club level.
Yeah, overall, I think they're very refreshing. I think they've been great so far, and in terms of standard refereeing, I think it's quite good in Galway. Um, there might have been one or two incidences where you have the three up thing. Maybe that sometimes that was called wrong once or twice, but overall, I think the refs are doing a good job in Galway. Um, so yeah.
Yeah, very good. And then overall, what would you say is St. Michael's aim in this year's championship?
Yeah, so coming up from intermediate and being relegated the year before, it's retaining our senior status is definitely priority. But beyond that, we definitely feel we can compete. I know there's you kind of have them your four tier teams. They're quite strong, but after that, I think it's very competitive. So look, we'll be looking to finish in that top three of the group and then having a crack at it there and seeing where we can get to, because I do believe it's very competitive for all 16 teams.
You're obviously one of the more experienced Michael's players now on this squad. Just in terms of structure of the season, do you feel it? Do you feel it's working at the minute?
Uh, I don't actually. I think, and I've talked about this from the players across different teams as well. I think the season's very long. To be going back mid March and going up all the way until kind of October, it's a long season. It's hard to get a management team to commit, and I think we're not the only one in that boat. I think everyone's struggling at the start of the year to kind of say to go to a management team and say, listen, do you want to manage us for 9-10 months, 3 times a week? I think it's a lot. I think the hurlers have it a bit better. I think they kind of go back mid April. Their league starts, and not only the management teams. I think players are kind of struggling for that 9 month commitment. I think if you just took it down a month at the start of the year, because pitches are unplayable anyways. It's too dark. It's the matches, like the ground's not good enough. The league really doesn't take off until end of April, start of May. That's when you get your really good games. And I think if I don't know if anyone's listening, I'd be pushing out a month, and I'd be lining up closer with the hurling, with the way the hurling works.
So you just feel by pushing it out for April and maybe sort of saving a month where maybe you return in March, but you're not playing games until April. Do you feel
Yeah,
that's maybe the solution?
yeah. I think most people will be happy with that. I mean, I maybe some younger lads might be a bit happier playing a bit, getting back a bit earlier in that. But I just think it to get a management team in place, and then on top of that, to get commitment from all 30 players, can be difficult.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's very interesting to hear from the current player there, obviously. But Dave, thanks a million for your time and best of luck in the
Yeah.
championship.
All right. Cheers, Paul.
Now we're continuing our build up to the senior championship, and I'm joined by Oisín McDana from Leitir Moir to look ahead to his side's championship campaign. Oisín, first off, how are preparations going ahead of the championship?
Going well, Paul. Yeah, obviously we've the league behind us now. Finished off with a loss to Mike Cullen in the league final, obviously, but we were happy enough with the way things went throughout the league. So, gained promotion to Division One for next year. So yeah, happy enough.
Just in the last two seasons, you must be happy enough with how the league has went for you. Two promotions, 2 years in a row now.
Yeah, yeah, we would be happy enough, Paul. I suppose at the start we would have been down Division 3B. So I suppose as a senior team, you want to be up competing against top level teams throughout the league. So. Yeah, we're happy enough now, Division One next year, playing against top teams, and I suppose it'll gear you up and you'll be ready for the championship, then playing against high level teams.
A change of management, obviously, this year. Very. How has Alan Murphy settled into the role now in Leitir Moir?
Yeah, Alan settled well. He's a fantastic coach, obviously very well organised, and he's a good few years, I think 4 years behind him in Oughterard, so he was successful with Oughterard too. So yeah, we're delighted with Alan. So he's a great man to have on board.
And just with the squad, Oisín, at the minute, Have you lost many from last year even, and is there many, I suppose, new players who've made the jump up to senior now?
No, we haven't lost anyone from last year. So the squad is still the same. A couple of young lads obviously making that transition through, primarily playing, I suppose, junior and breaking through, but you kind of be looking at them for the next couple of years. It's hard to make that initial jump through in your first year for senior. So yeah, we'll be keeping an eye and hopefully they can break through and strengthen the squad. I suppose throughout the championship and throughout the next couple of years.
Just looking at your group, pushing Kerfin obviously in the group, Milltown and Monavea Abbey. What are you expecting in that group?
Yeah, look, there's no easy championship game in Galway at this stage with 16 teams in it. You're playing Milltown the first game. Yeah, look, Milltown are a team that are always competing at the business end of championship. They're a Division One team and they're senior a long time, so there'll be nothing easy in either game, to be honest with you, Paul. But we're going to take it, I suppose, game by game and see how we get on. Just hoping to build on, I suppose, our league form and our championship form last year. So yeah, we're just really looking forward to it and focused on the championship ahead.
You were just ta talking there about how you haven't lost anyone. Do you think that it's an advantage in one sense, Leitir Moir nearly having everyone all year, just given, I suppose, you don't have any county players at the minute?
Yeah, I suppose there's advantages and disadvantages. I suppose you have throughout the league what you have for the championship, so you can work away on whatever you want to work on. And I suppose in one way you're not dependent on anyone to come back. Um, but then obviously other teams would say that it's a great boost to have a county star come back into a panel. So I suppose there's pros and cons to it. But yeah, look, we're happy enough where we're at in terms of working on things with the full squad. So we have to do B for now anyway.
And what do you feel Leitir Moir's championship ambitions are this year?
Yeah, look, I suppose as I said earlier on, we'll take it game by game, but I suppose to make it to the knockout stages would be the aim really. I suppose we'll play Milltown first, see how we get on, and just look to build on it really. Take it game by game, and we'll see how we get on. Hopefully, get into the knockout stages of the championship.
As an attacker, are you loving these new rules?
Yeah, yeah. There's great freedom, and I suppose you're not caught running back the whole time, but the lads back the way to get tired the odd time, so you might slot in for one of them for a breather. But yeah, great. There's a great flow to the game and plenty of space, so yeah, really enjoying it.
Has it made it more enjoyable? Did you feel there was ever stages last year, I suppose, where it did become maybe too defensive?
Yeah, I suppose for spectators, I suppose mainly it was more of an issue. Kind of as players, you were kind of adapting to things as they went along, and probably just caught up in the game, so you mightn't have noticed it as much. But yeah, just from playing this year in comparison to last year, there's a big difference in terms of space, and yeah, just really enjoying it.
Great stuff, Oisín. Thanks a million for coming on, and best of luck in the championship.
Thanks, Paul.
So joined now by Eddie O'Sullivan. Eddie, where do you feel Oughterard are at heading into the championship?
Sure, Paul, it's hard to know. We're probably only 4 or 5 injuries off a bad championship, and obviously, like everyone else, if we've a good, if we've everyone fit and able, and you probably have a good day or two, you fancy yourself to get out of the group, like so. Like there's probably a cohort of clubs, probably everyone outside the probably top 3 or 4 that would see themselves in the same boat that everything goes to plan. You'll get out of the group, maybe get to a quarter final or whatever. But obviously, when you're talking clubs with lesser numbers, you're probably only 4 or 5 injuries or a suspension off, possibly not having the best championship in the world.
How do you feel the league went for you?
The league went well. The league went quite well now. We were competitive in Division One, which, like, the one thing you'd always be cognizant of when you do go into Division One, you're a bad day could be compounded fairly quickly with a high score against you. Like, we we won four of our games. Three were two. Sorry, two were away from home, two at home. So like two away from home in probably any division is good going. Like unless you're probably in a division well below your level, like winning away from home is quite difficult. So like plenty of positives. I suppose probably a bit disappointed that we couldn't kept closer to Corfin going down the home straight. Like we were midway through the second half, we were probably making a bit of inroads on them, but just couldn't get that bit closer to them. But I suppose, listen, as I said to a few, is probably if you're down the bookies, Corfin away on a nice sunny evening is probably a big ask for any club, not just ourselves. Like so, yeah. Listen, finishing third in Division One for us is, it's a good launch pad for Championship.
Change of manager, obviously. Dermot Lee has replaced Alan Murphy Free.
Yeah, Dermot's come on board, and yeah, Dermot now is going well. Very well received by the lads. Dermot has good way with him. Alan had done a stellar 4 years with us. Probably with regards to the old rules, probably developed us as well as you could under them. Um, the new rules, it's hard to compare really. Anyway, managers in general, but especially when the rules have totally changed, because like what was a good thing to do last year is possibly not quite the best thing to do this year. Like a simple one is like last year the worst thing you could do is kick a wide. This year, if you're in trouble and you might be about to turn it over, you're better off just kicking the ball over a sideline or kicking a wide than getting turned over. Like so, it's yeah, it changed the world. And German, I suppose, one thing about German that is very likable is he'd be very open-minded. He'd be a good listener, and very open to new ways of playing football, which is probably, I suppose, with the rules, probably the best way a manager can be at the moment.
Much turnover in the squad, Eddie? Have you been able to hold on to anyone? Is there any new younger players making the step up for you this year?
We've held on to everyone we had except for Dan Kenny has gone travelling for the next 2 months. So, like realistically, that probably rules him out for championship. Because he's probably 6 weeks travelling now at this stage, and probably another month on top of that, and in Southeast Asia. So I can't see him even kicking a bit of football down there now to keep fit. But apart from that, we kind of we have everyone. Probably a few of the younger lads that like plenty of talent in them, like Colin Ford had a great league campaign, and he would have had 2 years where he dislocated his knee. So he kind of ended up missing 3 years of football altogether. So two dislocations in a row. Cathal Buckley, he's coming to a good age, really starting to step up to the mark, which like the two of them have probably been like two new additions for us. And like on top of that, James Lowry's a year older, probably a year more of football in them. So like they're essentially probably in ways three new additions for us. So which has been a great boost. Then Luke Burns, who would have played a bit underage with St James's, but was mainly playing hurling with Lee Mellows. He joined us as well now. That wasn't really an interclub transfer now. That was more, he hasn't played in about 10 years, and he's going out with with Eric and Niall's sister. So I think the only way he was going to ever be let into the house was if he got the transfer.
Is Eric back from the Cruciate too?
And Eric, actually, yeah, Eric's back from the Cruciate. He with a challenge match last Sunday now, and he made his first appearance now since it. So yeah, it'd be great now to get something out of Eric. Eric, when he did the Cruciate against Cardiff Strand, was playing the best football he'd probably played since the All-Ireland final. So yeah, it'd be great to have Eric back. Like Jesus, it's getting someone like him back now is like getting a brand new player, especially having played the entirety of last year's championship without him.
You've obviously been drawn in the group with Saltillock, Macara, Montpellier, Law, and St Michael's.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to know. I suppose everyone's looking at Salt Hill really in that group. They'll be the team to beat, and rightfully so. Like they've huge experience. Obviously, they have 6 players in the Galway senior panel, but like you'd like Evan Wynn, who would have senior exposure with London. You've Donny O'Sullivan in goals, who would have been the Limerick first choice goalie for years. Like so, they've huge experience and huge talent. Still probably be the team to beat, and then obviously Montpellier, like it's only 3 years ago they were senior county champions, and Michael's like we're sure they have a great bounce in them after winning intermediate last year.
What do you feel are the championship ambitions this year for Oughterard, Eddie?
I suppose, as I said at the start, like for a club like ourselves, you can't be thinking too far ahead. You have to get out of the group. Really, is your first ambition, and then you'll take it, I suppose, week on week. Then after that, then the way the championship is run, unless you top the group, you're out in the preliminary the following week. So there's probably no point targeting the whole pile after it, because when you will say you played the last group game and you get out and you're playing the following week, your mindset becomes very much just, yeah, we just have to get right for next week. It doesn't really matter what your target was at that point. Like it's really at that stage we're just playing whoever you might draw, Leitir Moir, or you draw Tuam Stars or Claregalway, whatever the case may be. You're very much just right, because I just know from last year, like you finish that last group game and it's like, right, we're playing Milltown on Saturday. Yeah, it doesn't matter if your target was the county final or the county semi final. It's you have 6 7 days to get yourself right, and that fairly focuses the mind. Like,
Just finally then, Eddie, we're only chatting off air there, and you said you're enjoying the new rules. There isn't many defenders who might say that. A lot of people might say it's a forwards game now.
yeah, well, I didn't explain why I might be enjoying it. Maybe I'm enjoying it because it'll retire me sooner. People will be happy to see the back of me. But no, all joking aside, yeah, enjoying it. Like it's probably a more open sport now as a result. Defending can be probably a bit lonely at times, but like the one thing I'd say is, compared to probably the last 3 or 4 years, when you do defend well, when you do turn a man back, when you do maybe turn someone over, like there's a far greater appreciation for what you've done, as opposed to, like, if this time last year you turn a player over inside your own 45, everyone, sure, there's probably 12 lads around you, everyone's expecting you to turn them over. Whereas you turn someone over now, and there's a real sense of accomplishment to what you've done. Like, so I suppose in that way, and like as a spectacle, I suppose more importantly, because as well as playing it, we all watch it. It's been a far better sport, far better year for the sport.